Hi everyone, welcome to Cheltenham Chat, episode 3. Well, the world's gone mad over the past 10 years, in my opinion. But the betting world and the anti-post world has gone nuts in the last 2-3 years. How can people be backing John Bon at 74 for an Arkle? I'd like to see they're working out on that. I don't care if the horse wins or not, if he wins the Arkle or not. 74 is absolutely ludicrous for this horse. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about a few things. And at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about a horse who I've backed. And it runs later today, and that's why I'm getting the video out a little bit earlier this week. It's not a bet for the videos. It's not a bet out the £400, and we've done really well with those bets. But it's not a bet like that. But it's one that I don't want people to say, oh, you never said that you were backing this horse, you know, when I'm talking about it later in the season. Now, it will never count for the videos, and everyone knows I'm very fair. The bets go out in separate videos. I always say when the bets are going out of the £400 bank, and I don't know if I'll put bets out of the £400 bank this season. And that's part of the reason the horse isn't going up in that. But I want to talk about it anyway. But anyway, this John Bon thing, and I will review the rest of the week later, but this John Bon nonsense, there is a possibility that he could face the second top novice hurdler from last season, Sir Gerhard, in the Arkle yet, because he's not out today. Dysart Dynamo was certainly not done with. He could have certainly beaten John Bon in the Supreme last season. I don't know where John Bon ranked in the novice hurdlers last season. Now, I'm not saying he's not a good horse, because he is. He's a very good horse. But I'm just talking about the price he is for this Arkle at the moment. He's probably in the top 5 novice hurdlers last season, because he was beaten at the end of the day 14 lengths or so, maybe 19 lengths, I can't remember, in the Supreme Novices. And he had some decent form, but he didn't have any better form than the Sir Gerhard's, Three Stripe Lice, Mighty Potters, Dysart Dynamos of this world. He's come out and he's won at Warwick over 2 miles against a horse, Montmoral, who didn't run any sort of race last season until he went to Aintree, and he was 14 lengths beaten there by Epatant over 2 miles 4. And that horse has then come into a 2 mile chase, being beaten by John Bon in a virtual match, because I don't think West Cork was much of a trier in real truth. And because he's won that and jumped like probably 8 out of 10, he's now 7-4 for the Arkle. And he's going to win another Mickey Mouse race against absolutely nothing, and he'll go to the Arkle probably an even money favourite. And he won't have faced probably any rival of the type he's going to face in the Arkle. And the bookmakers have everything in their favour there, because they've cut him to a price where he probably is 2 points shorter than he should be at the moment. He's 4 months out, he could get injured. And he's just about the same price as horses who've proven. Floating Porter's won 2 staying hurdles, and he's 5-1 because he got beaten on his reappearance. And John Bon's beaten 1 in a match, and he's 7-4 for an Arkle. I simply don't get those prices. I'm not trying to be controversial this week, but really and truly, I do wonder about punters. And I'll tell you another thing about I wonder about punters. I looked at the Uppy and the Ante viewing figures last week. 30,000 views for a video for a guy who gave 24 losers out of 24 last season. Every horse lost that David Jennings put up last season, and he's getting 30,000 views on his video. He's been paid to do it, and this week I'm reliably informed he put up Might Eye for the Stairs Hurdle, and 30,000 people are watching that video, and there are loads and loads of guys putting up better content than that on YouTube. Now, we may not have the frills, we may not have an editor putting it up, we may not put out the jokes, but at the end of the day, if you want to watch a show that's putting up Might Eye for the Stairs Hurdle and 24 losers in a row last season, then that's simply up to you. I'm not asking you to watch my video, because I'm telling you there's lots better than mine out there on the independents. I'm just saying to you. And this is the second time in 3 videos that I've slated up in the ante. But really and truly, if you want to be watching something that's putting up 24 losers in a row, and then a horse like Might Eye, then you fill your boots. So anyway, I'm going to get on to the rest of the review of this week. And then I'm going to tell you about the horse that... I don't know if I'm putting bets up this season, but I'm going to tell you about a horse. And I'm putting my head on the block a bit like Jennings did with Might Eye, because I'm going to tell you about a horse that I've backed for Cheltenham this season, and it's running today. And if it runs a poor race, I'm going to look a bit of a mug, but I don't really care. But it's not a bet for the videos, it's a bet that I've put off. And I suppose the people who watch this video early will have a chance of at least thinking about it and wondering whether they want to get involved themselves. But if they do, that's totally up to them, and it doesn't count out of my bank. It's just a horse who I've backed. So I'll get on to the horses from last week. So the first horse from last week that I want to talk about is Jerry Colombia. It ran at Fairyhouse. And it brings me on to a very good independent video that I watched by We're Going Chasing. They also do a podcast, I believe, on Apple. It's the same on YouTube as it is on Apple. Anyway, they interviewed Rob Aitchison from Robcour. He's Brian Aitchison's son. And they talked about all his horses. And when they interviewed him, he did say that he thought Jerry Colombia would need softer ground. And he also sort of dissed the idea that this horse would go to the National Hunt Chase, which means that, with Cheltenham in mind, it's probably a Brown advisory or a no-go, really. And with him then being asked about his Cheltenham Festival bet, and I won't spoil the rest of the video for you, then it didn't sound like they were keen on the Brown advisory for Jerry Colombia. I definitely got the vibe that if this horse turns out to be as good as they think he is and he stays sound, that I would think he could be an Irish national type horse. He needs soft ground, which is going to be difficult for the festival because he would be running probably on the Wednesday, and typically you wouldn't tend to be getting very soft ground on the Wednesday, although we did this year. It would be unlikely. So while he was very good, and he really has been, in every race he's run, he's been exceptional. In his bumpers, his hurdle races, and his chase debut, he is a very good horse, Jerry Colombia. And I would advise people to watch that video about the Robcour horses. It was quite informative. I watched another horse on the Fairyhouse card. Now, it's not a Cheltenham horse, and I think it's a horse for the future, but I thought Ferns Lock was really impressive in the Hunter Chase. His jumping was absolutely superb. I think this is a future winner of the Fox Hunters. It was interesting to hear his trainer, David Christie, who's not won the Fox Hunters yet, but I think it's coming very soon. He's got the favourite for the Fox Hunters this year in Vosselet. And I wouldn't say this Ferns Lock is going to be a whole lot behind him. I think maybe next year's 2024's festival, this Ferns Lock looks a real weapon in the Hunter Chase division. I was really impressed with his performance. We've talked about John Bond now. While he's 74, it was a good performance. I thought his jumping was about 8 out of 10. I don't rate Montmoral really that highly. I think he's an aggressive horse. He hasn't done well now since his juvenile season, and that can happen to horses. I think John Bond was probably in the top 5 novice hurdlers last season. It was an adequate performance. Like I say, 8 out of 10 for his jumping probably, but certainly not a 7-4 shot for the Arkle in my book, and I'd say he should still be the 5-2, 3-1 range. And anyone taking a 7-4 really is taking a bit of a chance. And like I say, he could win, but I'm not in that camp at all. On the Thursday in the Clonmel Oil Chase, Blue Lord was reasonably impressive in his win. Tornado Flyer ran well. I just don't see these horses as quite up to the Ryanair at the Cheltenham Festival. I think they're just below the top horses that Willie's got. I don't think they can travel Allaho, Galopin, Deschamps, etc. in the Ryanair division or the Gold Cap division in truth. Dulcita Could she be a mare's chase horse? I think she's slightly below that level. I was on her for the mare's novice in her novice hurdling career, and she was just below Tell Me Something Girl, and I'm not sure that going chasing she'll be able to make that gap up in the hurdles for him. Over the weekend we saw a lot of races very depleted, and it shows that you can win big pots with horses who probably aren't quite top class. And Goshen won a 100k race at Ascot, beating Brewing Up a Storm. They're not going to win at Cheltenham, but I wouldn't mind picking up a 100k race. And I'm sure Goshen's owner is not too disappointed with that win. And he won nicely. I think probably Brewing Up a Storm will probably have looked on that as a race he probably could have won. Protectorate did the same. Now, he had to go in and face the Gold Cup winner. What do you make of a Plutarch run? I mean, I had one of my viewers asking me last night what I make of a Plutarch, and I really don't know what to say. I mean, they're going to have to come up with excuses for the run. He was never really going. Never really jumped that fluently either. It's definite that Protectorate was out jumping him at every fence, but he just never looked happy. I don't know if they'll find something wrong with him. I mean, this is a horse who won a Gold Cup by 15 lengths, so it's obviously not his running, and you have to wait and see the prognosis. But Protectorate was good. He's been down now to 10-1. Now, one of my mates is a big Protectorate fan. He's backed Protectorate at 33-1 for the Gold Cup before yesterday, and kept going on about it. And for me, he's not winning a Gold Cup, but you know, I could be proven wrong there, but I don't think he'll beat the battalions of Irish horses. But he was really good. He couldn't fault anything he did, and I think this was his Gold Cup though, and I think he's won his race for the season. Will he progress? I don't think he will, but others think he will. I wouldn't back him at 10-1 for the Gold Cup, but like I say, my mate's on him at good prices, and good luck to him. But he's not for me, and that's just the way I feel about him. Gary Moore had another big pot win on Botox Haas, and this burst a lot of bubbles. But it really enhanced the form of Shoot First for the Pertemps. I think Botox Haas could develop into a stairs hurdle sort of contender. I think he's the sort of horse that will run a solid race in a stairs hurdle, perhaps finish 4th or 5th or 6th. I don't think he'd quite win it. I don't think after this race he'll be handicapped well enough to win a Pertemps. He'd have to go to the stairs now. And I don't think he's quite good enough to win a stairs, but he'll certainly run a solid race in it. And who knows, if he improves more, he could perhaps develop into a horse who could be an each way shot for the stairs. But at the moment, I think he's just below that level, but above Pertemps level in the handicap. Over at Punchestown, Kilcrap made an adequate chasing debut, but he beat absolutely nothing. And he jumped fences better than he jumped hurdles, that's for sure. And hopefully he can fulfill his potential. But it was a nothing race, really, and hard to judge him on that. Queen's Brook is a bit of a talking horse at a Calantra this season. They're really singing her praises and saying that she can win the mare's hurdle. For me, she still looks a bit of a slow boat to me. I just don't think she'll have a turn of pace when she needs it. And she's going to have to turn the stairs hurdle into a right slog for her to be able to win it. That's just my view. Perhaps she is good enough, but she was good yesterday, but beating heaven help us. But I just think she was done for toe by Maurice Rock, and I think something in the mare's hurdle will do her for toe. She's probably going to be a decent each way shot, but whether she'll win it, I probably don't think so. We backed her last season in a double for the mare's hurdle, and I was really disappointed that she couldn't win. I don't see what's changed this season. They're hoping for a better prep. They say it was rushed last season, and we'll see. So I'll just now get on to the horse that I'm having a bit of a whack at for the Cheltenham Festival. And I'm not going to have too many like this that I'm going to put up, but they're not bets out of my bank, and I don't know if I'll bet out the bank this season, but I'll put it up so that on the video, so that people know I've backed it, and I'm not, like, I could have come on this video tomorrow and said oh, I've backed this for, and if she wins 10 lengths today, then people will think, well, you never told anyone about it, and you know, that's just after time. And I don't want to do that. So I'll tell you the horse that I'm backing for the Cheltenham Festival in the next part of the video. It'll probably come as no surprise, the horse I'm having a bet on. Now, it's not for the videos and it's not for my accounts, but I'm backing it. And it's Tell Me Something Girl for the Mare's Chase. I've been told she went to a schooling race 3 weeks ago, a very good horse, who I won't name because like I shouldn't be saying what I hear. But they were very impressed with her jumping. They were very impressed with how she's grown physically over the summer as well. I think last season they perhaps put all their eggs in one basket looking to win the Mare's Hurdle. Of course, she was brought down absolutely cantering, and we were on her for the videos last season, and I was absolutely devastated, to be honest, when she did get brought down. I'm hoping for better luck this season. I think she could develop into a Mare's Chase horse. Now, the reason this isn't going up as a bet is because I don't know she's going to the Mare's Chase. I'm just assuming that Kenny Alexander, with so many mares and backing the Mare's programme so heavily, won't go to an Elvis Chase. But she would get £7 in a Turner's or an Arkle or a Brown Advisory. So there's no guarantee, and that's why my own personal bet on this horse can't go up as a video bet, because she could quite easily go into a Turner's or a Brown Advisory and get the £7 off the geldings. But I think she'll go to the Mare's Chase. Like I say, she beat Dulcita at Cheltenham 2 seasons ago in the Mare's Novice. I think she's a very good horse, and I think if she takes to chasing, you know, she'll have a reasonable chance. She's 10 to 1. She's nothing special. She's not a huge price. I've seen her put up on other videos for the Mare's Chase. I think that's where they'll go. She's going to have to make a good debut today. I'm going to look like a mag after slagging Jennings off for his losers, especially Mike Dye, who he put up because he thought he'd win yesterday. Now, this is the same for me. If Tell Me Something Girl wins easily today, she's going to be a 5 to 1 shot for the Mare's Chase. And then it's difficult to be even thinking about. And I don't want to put the horse up and say, oh, I backed this at 10s, but I never said anything to anyone. That's not the way my videos work. So I'm having a bet on Tell Me Something Girl at 10 to 1 William Hill before she runs today. Well, I've had the bet already, but I'm saying it before she runs today. It's also interesting to see how Stateman gets on. I think he'll win today, but at 4 to 6, he's not a bet. But it'll be interesting to see. He really needs to win today, or he's not going to be a champion hurdle hopeful. I'm not even sure if he is, even if he does win today. But I'd like to see him win. It'd be nice to see new blood in the market. And it'd be nice to see a few contenders to Honeysuckle and Constitution Hill emerge this season. So that's my assessment of last week. I'm not a fan of the John Bond price. He could win an Arkle, but I'm not a fan of the price. I really don't know what to make of a Plutard, and I can't make sort of rash decisions about the horse when we don't know what happened to him, if they found something wrong. But like I say, I've had a bet on Tell Me Something Girl for the Mare's Chase. I've put my head in the block. If she gets beaten today, she won't be winning a Mare's Chase, but I've had a bet on her for it. Hopefully she'll do well, and it's very interesting to see how Stateman gets on. So I wish you a good week. Enjoy the World Cup, first week of it, and I'll be back to you next week with my view on Tell Me Something Girl and Stateman and the horses who run next weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.